Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Open Shutter. How about that countdown? I just figured out that we can do that after a year of doing the show on StreamYard. So that was very exciting for me. Welcome back to another Wednesday. We have special guest Andrew here with us, who's going to take us through some of his photography and some of his background in photography, and also a little bit about his magazine experience business. And it's going to be a great chat. It was also about 20 degrees today in Toronto, so that was also a very big deal for everyone here. It's almost like summer, guys. We're almost there, except we can't really go anywhere, which is totally unfortunate.
Yeah.
Right?
One day.
Yeah, so we'll just do a quick roundtable. One day soon in 2023. It'll happen. So quickly, we'll just do a roundtable. If you guys don't know who I am, my name is Paul. I don't usually promote my videos unless they're good, and I just finished like a documentary the other day, and Bryan and Andre are in it. So if you haven't watched the video, it's on my channel. So since you're already on my channel, after the show, go check that out because Bryan and Andre did a great job in the documentary. So check that out, and we'll go to Evans for a quick intro. Mr. Evans.
Hey, what's up, guys? My name is Evans. I am based in Brampton, Ontario. I'm a weddings and events photographer. Curious and excited to have Andrew on tonight. We're gonna learn a few new stuff. So, as usual, don't forget to like the video and also check out everyone's social media platforms: YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, all around in the description.
Sir. Lots of things to click on.
Yep.
Mr. Mcgowan.
My name is Bryan Mcgowan. I am Brampton, Ontario-based photographer and videographer, and just enjoy shooting stuff. Curious to chat with Andrew about the magazine side of things, and we'll take it from there.
Absolutely. Andre?
What's going on, everybody? Andre. I'm also from Brampton. Photographer, videographer. I shoot everything under the sun, basically. I have no niche, so it's called randomness, and I love it.
It's called life.
And welcome on the show, Andrew.
Yeah, for sure. So I know that we want to get into a lot of stuff, so maybe we'll just do a quick intro about yourself, Andrew.
So I'm a photographer about 6 years now, and I try and shoot as many things as I can. Just try to have really strong images and try to use my imagination as much as possible.
Yeah, awesome. And I think we might start off with just showing your Instagram because I think it's phenomenal, to be honest with you. So maybe we'll start with that. And you're based in Toronto?
Yeah, basically I live in Oshawa, but I shoot basically in mostly Toronto and west of there.
Awesome.
Like people that seem to like my stuff are out in the West End.
Oh yeah.
So,
Tony, it's bangers, man. Andrew's got some bangers, man. Trust me. I don't know if you know Tony, Andrew, but Andrew's actually been wanting to do this show for like a while now. So I'm glad that we were able to like schedule it in.
I was afraid before, so yeah.
I told Andrew before, like, there's nothing to this show. Like, people think that we're organized, but we just kind of come on and we just kind of hope for the best sometimes, and we just pray, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. But tonight's going to be good, man. I have a feeling tonight's going to be really, really good. Hey, Kim. So let's just start with your Instagram. So let me show Andrew's Instagram first of all. And let me do this. You guys have Andrew's Instagram here?
I don't see it right now, but myself frozen.
Yeah, you guys have it, right?
It's up there.
Okay. So go follow Andrew, step one, because like it's just crazy how you can do this. First of all, how do you do this is my question.
It's an app from Instagram app, and I found it. I believe it's called. Let me just look at it here.
Like it's nice.
I use there's one called Instagrid.
Right.
Instagrid. Yeah, this is an Instagrid, but it's an older version because when you update your apps, sometimes you lose stuff. So I just don't update some of my apps on purpose, And so I found this one called Instagrid, and I've been able to use either 12 squares, 9 squares, 6 squares.
Yeah.
And so, I like my images to be big. And so I know with sizing of Instagram pictures, and
like even this one.
Well, a lot of people that I know, my pictures don't always fit their pages, and it's kind of annoying. And so, and I'm not, I don't have the skills necessarily to make them the proper size. So I let my pictures to be as big as possible, showing as much as I can.
Yeah, I love them. I used to use it a while. The only problem I find with them is that once you start, if you don't keep posting in instead of threes, you end up with your grid looking kind of shifted upwards and downwards, because some of the images that was supposed to make up that particular nine photo grid or something gets shifted and bumped around.
Yes, and I understand that too, and I think it does look kind of haphazard at times. But I think that if I want the page to be mine, so I'm trying not to succumb to all the other stuff.
Right. I mean, it's unique, man. Like, look, it just like jumps right out, like right off the page, man.
Well, the grid on your phone looks on my phone probably looks like a grid, but for the public, it seems better, right? So, so I like strong images. Obviously I like headshots. It seems so, but
100%.
I just like that focus and that faces.
So I mean, what's like your niche? I think that you mentioned that you started off in actually like landscape photography.
Yeah. So my story starts really when I had to produce or wanted to produce a highlight film video for my son, who's a lacrosse player, so he could get a scholarship. And so I figured, you know what, while I'm trying to do this videography or photography, I should learn how to use a camera. And then I kind of fell in love with understanding what was going on. And then I went to a wedding photographer who said to me, go shoot some landscapes, some cityscapes to figure out how to deal with their shutter speed, aperture, and ISO and stuff like that. And I went to her and I shot the landscape, the cityscape of Toronto. When I went back to her to show her, she said that I can't shoot cityscapes that way. And so then I said, I'm not coming back to see you anymore, because what I understand is that you're supposed to learn the rules and break them, right?
Yeah. So she didn't like the way that you shot it.
She didn't like my cityscape of Toronto, and I think.
Well, how'd you shoot it? Like, what was it? Like, what did
on the Polson Pier?
Yeah.
I shot it, what do they say, long exposure.
Yeah.
And I think that shot is spectacular, not even 6 years later.
Yeah. Do you have it handy somewhere?
Yeah.
Is it in the archives?
No, it's not in the archives. I think I probably do have it here
Somewhere.
I would have to.
You can find it later and then tag us on IG, and then we can share later on IG if you want.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
It's funny though, because I think all of us probably have a long exposure from that spot.
Oh, everyone, like that's how you shoot Polson
It's a
Pier.
classic view. Yeah.
Yeah, like look them.
Yeah, I just like it's in black and white, and I think it was very well done. And I think that, well, at the time I was just experimenting, and light trails. 2:00 in the morning, I'd be bored or tired.
Right.
And I just drive downtown Toronto, which is about 40 minutes from me, and just shoot. Like the city at night is pretty nice.
Yeah.
And it's quiet, and you can, doing a long exposure, you can do as many shots as you want. Of course. There's no one there bothering you. So when I learned how to do the long exposures, and I'm a YouTube fanatic too, so I watch videos and try to put them into practice. And so that's how I my photography kind of started, because again, those are the fundamentals: the ISO, the shutter speed, the aperture. A lot of people don't actually understand that, and I'm trying to master my light. So that's what I try to do.
And it's all practice, right? Like your friend wasn't very supportive at that time.
Well, yeah, like again, maybe I don't take criticism well, because I think I do.
Wow.
But,
it's all subjective. All of our stuff is subjective.
Yeah, but when she told me that I couldn't represent the cityscape that way, I just
Yeah.
odd.
Of course you can. It's art. You can do whatever you want.
That's the way you see it. So
Yeah, exactly.
And so I have to also take her perspective at the time, but I
Yeah.
didn't, I was kind of insulted in a way, but
Wow.
again, she had years of experience over me, and I thought that she would be able to
Yeah.
teach me with an open mind, and then
Yeah.
I didn't keep that open.
There's many ways to approach a shot, right? Even if you take all of us and you take us to Pulse and Pier, we're all going to have different ways to approach the shot.
Yes,
Nothing wrong with that.
and myself, I have to understand that too, and I don't follow a ton of photographers, but I have to understand that they've learned different ways than I have, and I can probably learn from that.
Yeah, of course. The learning never stops, right?
Oh no.
Well, you have a person named Scott P. Photography. I met him at one of the Get Out and Shoots, and his work on cityscapes and stuff, like that's cityscapes and street photography, is unbelievable. And so I don't shoot that a lot, but some of the shots I have taken, I'm like, wow, like this is pretty out there, pretty imaginative, even to take those kind of perspectives. So those are the types of things that kind of inspire me to shoot. And so if I can incorporate that kind of shot though with an actual person, a model, I would do that.
Which is actually like a great segue, because now you went from landscape into like fitness and model photography, right?
Well,
which we'll show a few photos here. But
with my fitness, I went to the production studio in Toronto for my very first shoot. It was a workshop, and I fell in love with shooting fitness. The lighting was so cool, and it was so the people in the pictures were so empowered because they've done all the work for themselves.
I added stream to the show.
Pardon me?
I added the stream to the show, your photos.
Okay, beautiful.
So we got, this guy probably doesn't work out, but anyway.
Wow, interesting.
This guy should go for a run. Jeez.
Interesting story. When I met him, he said to me, he goes, "Well, I'm not really that fit."
Oh man.
Yeah. We met.
Oh boy.
Exactly. We met at the Humber Bay Bridge, and he took his shirt off, and I'm like, really? That's kind of crazy. And so I'm a strobist as well, so all these shots are with strobes. Okay. So my biggest thing is my light, I think, and so balancing the strobes with natural light is the best.
Yeah, 100%. Mm-hmm. And you shot this in what, like in the middle of the day? Like what time of day was this?
I think around probably 10 or 11 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. So
just to show you don't need sunrise or sunset.
Nope. Right. I would prefer sunrise than anything, but yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
Because you're from Oakville, Burlington area there, the sunrise there is beautiful.
Yeah, it works though, right? Like it works. Like
I think people should take more advantage of that light there, because I've never seen many shoots there.
Yeah.
But the beach there, they groom it in the mornings. It's beautiful.
Oh, 100% it is, yeah. And it's actually really nice.
Mm-hmm.
See, Tony bangers, I know, right?
Yes.
Told you, Tony. Told you. So what are some do's and don'ts of like working with like models or like fitness people? Are there tips and tricks that you can share that you've kind of learned over the years?
With the models, I kind of made some notes today of what and I had some help from one of the models that I showed you this morning in my story.
Yeah.
And she gave me some input. Her name is Krista Eve, and she gave me some input as to communication. As for do's, communication of ideas is the most important thing.
Communication of ideas, okay.
Communication of ideas, and then communicating what you expect from the shoot, I would think.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. And go ahead.
Respect perspectives. So it's not my shoot; it's going to be our shoot, right?
Right.
So
100%.
And all these models, they have different levels, but some models have been many places I haven't been, and so they can how would I say create images from their experience that I would never dreamed of. So you have to listen and watch what they say.
Right. It's a good
You know,
tip.
like as a photographer, sometimes we forget that we think we're all important, but it has like she advised to me, without a subject,
There's nothing to shoot. Yeah.
Right. So,
Yeah.
so that was kind of ironic that she said that. And then we have to, as a photographer, I just have to value my worth.
Yeah.
TFP is a great thing, but that's not necessarily, representing our equipment and the time and the learning we've spent to get where we are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
And,
for sure.
And so then for the don'ts, again, a communication. I've been maybe bad for this. Like sometimes if you've been ghosted by a model at the last minute, I basically write them off, and so I've been told that maybe that's not. There's some excuses that can be viable, can be real, and so I should be a little more forgiving, maybe. But I just think that at the times, like I don't know if you noticed that the pictures I showed you here are basically outside. I shoot outside a lot, but
Right.
I also can shoot studio. But with studio crews and stuff like that, you can't have people ghosting you. So,
no, because you have to book the place.
Right. And so, and another reason why I'm into fitness as much is because those are clients generally who have money.
Right.
Right. When they enter an event and they're spending $2,000 to enter, and they get their spray tan done, their coaches are on a monthly plan, they have a gym membership, they have supplements. Those people have money, and most of the other people, and maybe you guys can tell me wrong, but most of the other people do not spend money on photos of themselves.
Yeah,
not a lot.
Exactly. Not a lot.
No,
not to like that extent.
They want it for free most of the time.
Yes,
Yeah,
and I understand free too. And like you're talking about models, and some of the models I've shot, not all the models I've shot have paid me, and I haven't paid them either. Because I guess some of the people I'm shooting, they're in demand to be shot. So why would they pay me? That's the scary.
Well, you gotta. That's where like the selling comes in. That's where like the marketing comes in, right?
Yes, you're right.
Whole like business side to it.
Mm-hmm. And so I don't know how you guys do, but I don't know if it's a struggle or it's super lucrative. Like to be able to do this full time, you must have mastered something really good to do that.
Right. So to do this full time, I mean, you must have a solid business plan, right? Because like you said, models these days don't want to pay for pictures. They want to do what they call collab or exposure thing, which for me doesn't work. Right. So yeah, once in a while I may shoot a model for free, but majority of the time I'm not gonna do it. It's either it's a paid shoot or it's not. Right. If I'm gonna do one of those TFP shoots, I really must have something that I want to do that I feel like that model is gonna make it easier for me to achieve. Right. I might have a concept in mind that I want to create and then work with that person to create it. Or it's going to be something that I am maybe recording a how-to video for my YouTube channel and I need a model to do that for me. But most of the time these days it's going to have to be a paid shoot. I have done free shoots in the past and I still do some from time to time. But if you want to, turn this into something that you can do on a full-time basis, you're gonna have to limit the amount of free shoots you do as much as possible.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, I agree. And again, I'm not there yet, and maybe one day I will get there. But this is my passion as well. I really think it's I take a lot of pride in what I do, and it's not easy. It's not as easy as it looks. I think like the pictures sometimes they turn out really well. But to get the pictures like that, that's what's those hours of YouTubing and critiquing your own work and figuring out your editing style and all that stuff to do. That's where it separates photographers.
Yeah. Well, it's all about like the discipline. You need to really have a discipline to it, right?
Well, sometimes I think I'm disorganized. But I like shoots where, my shoots are generally very long. and I'm talking 4 or 5 hours long. And the reason why they're so long is because I start out with a main plan, and then I just let whatever happens happens. So, like you said, see, my shoots are outside a lot of times. So what happens is we'll just move the venue. So I'll say, okay, I have like 5 venues to go to today. We're going to hit all 5 and just see what happens. And that seems to work extremely well.
You always just keep it moving, right? You just keep the shoot moving.
Always keep it moving, and I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid to get kicked out of places, and
those are the best. Just like those random walkarounds, and like downtown Toronto until the security kicks you out of the building. Those are great.
Yes, and it's fun, and it's making it for the model and everybody involved, and it's a lot of fun. And I think, and the one thing I spoke to Krista about today is that when you don't have a plan, I think it forces you to be a better photographer, because I never know what the light's going to be. So I just pull over on the side of the road, let's shoot there, and make it work.
It's also a lot more spontaneous.
Yes, I think it's interesting. Like, again, studio shooting is great, a great thing. Like I said, I'm a strobist, so I'm usually a one light guy, but can I mix the two? Yes. And can I position the sun to prepare my shots? Yes. You get that rim light and stuff, but again, I'm a one light strobist generally, and I think before you can hit 2 lights, you need to know 1.
Should bring you along to one of the special effects shoots I do in like abandoned locations or something. You'd probably have a lot of fun with it.
Well, I do use gels every now and then. I shot last week. I used some gels, and I think we would have got really happy with the results.
Gel play, white balance play. So use a CTO gel with a blue-white balance, and so you get the different colors play. And
see, I don't actually understand that. Like, I know I have seen people put gels on their strobes to get that white balance change, but I've never done it myself.
So you manually set a white balance to a cooler temperature, but use a warm gel so that it neutralizes the color on the model, but you get a very cool background out of it. It just lets you do some color play.
Yeah,
we can get together and I can show you some of that stuff if you want. No problem.
Well, I'm hoping that we can do many of those things. And
oh yeah,
because
it's coming, man.
Provided we're allowed to do stuff soon.
We're doing it. We're doing it. It's happening.
Yeah, because I love editing too, so I just don't know where I'm going. So I don't use presets, so I don't know where I'm going to end up.
Yeah,
so, that's half the fun.
Yeah, I can already see some of these images, especially maybe something like the one in the middle here, with a little bit of smoke behind it or something.
Oh, smoke grenades are awesome.
Would make a little bit of an extra addition.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, like, I don't know what I would think. Like, yeah. So as I think Photoshop, it's not my friend. So I try to shoot as close as I can to what I want. And then do the rest.
So you said you use flash a lot, right? From what I can see, are you using like hard lights, right?
Every shoot. No, it's modified.
What are you using for your modifiers?
So I use Godox 8400s, 8600s generally. Again, so like one light against the sun, they overpower the sun all the time. And again, that second light is the sun generally, right? For the rim light and all that other stuff. And I just seem to, I don't know. It's like at my shoots, I'm often laughing a lot or jumping up and down because I'm thinking to myself, oh my God, I just hit this, and shooting with strobes I just think it separates photographers.
It really does. I like using strobes a lot too sometimes, but recently I've been doing a lot more natural light. But strobes are fun. It gives you unlimited possibilities because you're not relying on the sunlight. You're not relying on, what direction the sun is coming from. You pick your direction, you position your model, and you let the strobe do its work, right?
Yeah. Like I love open shade, right? But it's like I think the picture on the last picture that I have up there, the girl who's in the yellow lingerie there.
Yep.
So that picture is underneath Union Station. So do you know
Oh,
the GO station?
yeah,
The GO station?
yeah,
So when you walk under that tunnel,
yeah.
she's standing right there,
Oh, I know where you are. Okay.
right? And so
Yeah.
it's just like the lighting there. Just if you can find open shade, that's when I want to shoot natural light.
It's clever. I like it. You're also
Yeah.
using like the lights as like a leading line too, a little bit.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
again, the composition, the lighting, the
Yeah.
mood. Again, that creates an image, right? So
Mhm.
I want to create strong images, and I've been lucky to work with some good people.
Yeah. The only thing I hate about my strobes is because I use the 8600 and a couple of 8200s.
Okay.
But my biggest thing is carrying them around.
Yeah, I have a cut.
Yeah, I have a cut, but after a while I got tired of pulling the wagon around every time I go on the shoots. So for the last maybe couple of months, I've just been doing natural lights. But one of these days I'll get back into strobes a little bit more.
Yeah, natural light for me is I like it. Again, especially doing that window light is really nice. But I always like to. So I don't really like. This is just me. I don't like shadows on people's faces. So I always want to clean that up. I always want to see the whole face, unless I really want not to have it. And on my Instagram page, you can. I don't think there's many people on my page whose faces are completely observable.
Yeah. That's cool. It's how you want the photo to be, right?
Yeah. So it's just what I do. Can I play the other aspect of it? Yes, I can. But that's a choice, right? You have to make a choice.
Yeah.
So I want to be able to recreate the same shot everywhere.
Yeah.
You can't do that. You can't do that with natural light.
True.
So
Nope.
that's what I try and do. And for fitness, I don't do fitness in gyms.
How come?
I think it's too cliche.
Mm.
I did a fitness shoot a couple of years ago in like the Portlands area. It was great.
I can do it. I don't like it because I just on every magazine, fitness magazine, you see someone with a weight in their hand or and obviously they're doing great work, and the lighting of those places. Like I follow Seeley Photography, Brent Seeley, he's from Colorado, and for some of his gym shoots, he uses like 7 lights. I'm like, oh, that's amazing. He's got amazing stuff. I just don't know how I can balance all those.
Tony has a question. What's the most creative shoot you've done with the client? Is this just for Andrew or to all of us? We'll ask Andrew since he's a special guest.
Most creative shoot?
Yeah, creative shoot.
I like shooting beauty, so
Okay.
I don't do it very often because, again, being able to get a great makeup artist and having that makeup artist basically sculpt the model is pretty difficult.
Yeah.
But
It's
when
kind
it
of like
comes
Laura, right, Brian? Kind of like Laura a little bit.
Yep.
Except Laura does it for her, herself.
Yeah, she does it on herself. Yeah.
So when it comes off, though, you're like, wow, that's really amazing what's happened. And beauty is such a clean look too. And say for beauty, I usually use one light for my beauty as well, but I use that a highlighter reflector underneath, so it just cleans up the faces like that. On my page there, the big square, the girl has her yellow hair. It just takes it cleans you up so well. And so you have it's another tool to use, right? So I found a tool that I liked, and I'll use it everywhere. Like I go outside into the woods to shoot, I would do that. It doesn't matter because it just cleans you up.
Cleans you up. Love it.
And so if you're doing beauty, you need clean images, and
yeah, that's the thing, right? Beauty, yeah, it's true.
You need clean, but
clean,
at the same time for beauty, I think you need unique faces.
Because you're mostly focused on the face, right? At least.
Well, no. I'm a portrait photographer. I think. I shoot 3/4 more than I do anything else. But in every shoot, I do shoot beauty in every shoot because I start with beauty because I think it also helps me get that communication piece I was talking about. I think it helps you communicate with the model, and then you work through that kind of flow, and then suddenly you start shooting better. So I don't know about you, but my first shots aren't my best. My last ones are.
So usually, if it depends who I'm working with. Like if I work with Laura, who I work with all the time, we just start getting bangers right away.
Well, yes,
but we've shot so many times together.
Mm-hmm. And so, like myself, I have a model, Krista Eve, that I shot a lot, and it's just like when she looks down the lens, it's just like we've known each other forever. So it's awesome. So having those models that you can go back to over and over again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Laura and I actually posted on Twitter a few Laura and I photos today. Just unbelievable what we've actually managed to do.
So if I could ask a question, what's your most creative shoots that you guys have done?
Lots.
Yeah.
Just the most recent one, I can actually share so that Andrew can see it right now. The most recent creative shoot. Because I can bring it up here. There. You got my screen, Paul? Yeah, if you share my screen there.
And where you're located in Brampton, right?
Yeah. Is Paul still there?
Because I know you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the screen. Yeah, I got the screen. Yeah, this one.
So that's actually a natural light shot using a reflector in an abandoned house. Laura with crazy makeup. There is a behind the scenes on my YouTube channel in case anyone wants to check it out. But Laura and I do a lot of special effects stuff.
Yeah, see, I've not really done that. Like I want to be edgy, quote unquote, whatever that means to me. But I like the darker side of things too. But I've never really had many makeup artists in my shoots. Generally, the people I shoot do their own makeup.
Laura does her own, but she's done a fair bit of that kind of makeup. There's another one in a wall.
Yeah, see, like I wouldn't be able to go there or come home afterwards. Okay. But see, like that shot there, the natural light coming through the opening.
Yeah.
Pretty intense, right?
Yeah.
That's baby powder sprinkled in the air.
So yeah, I haven't. The things that people try is something different, right?
Can I do a light painting one?
Oh, light painting.
Yeah.
Are awesome too.
You want to share, Andre?
Yeah.
I'll stop my screen.
Share before. Oh,
yeah. See. Yeah, I think I've seen your page. I think I've seen some of your stuff before. I think in this last summer you did some stuff somewhere.
We did a workshop. Yeah.
We did some workshops. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I guess one thing. Have you ever used black light?
Yep.
So I don't know how that actually works, but I think it could be, the neon painting. I think that'd be really cool to do that. Do you do that?
It can be tough, just because you do have to crank up your ISO a little bit. But
So your ISO would be at what kind of value?
3,000, 4,000, 5,000, maybe higher.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever shot over 1,200.
Oh boy. I don't want to get out of that comfort zone.
Yeah. So long exposure maybe, but I wouldn't necessarily do that. I don't like the noise, right?
Yeah.
But I guess
make it part of the image.
Okay.
Make it part of the image.
Again, those are the things that you can incorporate into your shoots if you know how to do them, or if you see it with somebody, And that's why I'm a fan of workshops. Because you do see things, and then you can make it your own afterwards.
100%.
I prefer to do the creative type shoots anyway.
Yeah, I've shot some bridal stuff too, and I just remember those bridal shoots were just very, very long shoots, and I'd be a chaperone or something at a shoot, be like, wow, that's a lot of work for the images you get. But you know, so again, that's just broadening my horizons. But even that picture there, that's kind of cool. Really
That's
cool.
2 speed lights, 1 speed light in the lantern, 1 speed light behind him, and a smoke grenade in an old barn at night.
That's a lot of work. That looks big though.
You gotta come hang with us, man. You gotta come hang with
Oh
us.
yeah. Laura and I are definitely planning to do a whole bunch of workshops in October.
Okay. Well, hopefully sooner than that.
We're doing.
Well, yeah, hopefully, but
weekly.
those are going to be themed, like Halloween themed.
Okay.
I don't know if you saw images from the one we did. We only managed to get one in this past fall,
Okay.
And there was a lot of demand for it. Paul was there. Tony was there.
Yeah, Tony got bangers.
Whereabouts was that?
We did it at Scottsdale Farm. It was a very small workshop, very limited. I'm trying to find one of the photos right now just so I can show you quickly. It was a lot of fun. Again, it was very limited. I think we had, 5 people, 6 people?
Yeah.
Just so that we could guarantee everybody getting quality shots out of it. So there you go, right there.
See, that's imagine. See, this would not even cross my mind, but what I do like about it is the imagination and the lighting is spectacular, right?
That's just natural light too.
See, there you go, like golden hour. It's a beautiful time to shoot.
Well, some of the gold is processing, but
but again,
yeah,
that's part of the show.
Yeah. So I send makeup concepts to Laura all the time, and she kind of puts her own spin on it, and then we shoot it. Like the last one in the house, I said, okay, I want this kind of eye look, this kind of mouth look. Sent her a couple sample pictures. She put her own twist on it, and then we did the shoot. And, Paul Evans and Andre were at that shoot. I send her ideas like, okay, let's do this one.
It's interesting about the eye makeup. Like even myself, like when I'm shooting boudoir, I don't want it to be truly clean. I want it to be kind of edgy, so that I want the eye makeup to be darker. And if we can, because I think the pictures are more striking that way.
Yeah, check out if you get a chance later on tonight or tomorrow or whatever. Check out my behind the scenes video because there's a little bit of the makeup right at the beginning. I spent 4 hours on that damn intro.
You gotta plug that. You gotta plug that intro.
I gotta plug that, but
I would put that on.
It shows some of the. It shows some of the makeup work that Laura does on herself, and then the actual shoot itself happening in an abandoned house. And Evans and Paul and Andre were all there too, so it was a good time.
Yep, fun times.
If you don't mind sharing, Paul, I got a fire shot queued up.
Yep. What happened to
Bryan?
So that's Bryan. Oh, there we go.
Oops.
Yep.
Too many buttons to click.
So yeah, this is something else we do. Bryan and
This is
I,
the
we do
top,
a lot of.
So how do you create that?
We do.
That's actually real fire.
Yeah.
So how do you create that?
So it's a 2-second shot roughly with 2 strobes with gels on them so that the color temperature of the light matches the fire. But yeah, it's roughly a 2-second shot on a tripod, so it's second curtain shutter.
It's
one real
image.
Fire.
It's yeah.
I've got the burn scars to prove that it's real fire.
I don't, like I said, I just would not have tried it because I'll probably get hurt, like you said. But again, understanding how to create that thing, that's the key to everything. I think. How do you create that? You know,
That's where me and Bryan work very well together and come up with these things. And I'm usually the one trying to figure out how to actually make it happen. And
like
then
the equipment,
the equipment side, and Bryan's more the lighting guy, I call him. So we work very well together, and we do some crazy stuff. But people like it.
Bit crazy.
Yeah. Everyone's so different in what they do. So you have to.
That's the power of community, right?
Yeah, we did a shoot this past winter where we had Santa Claus with like fireballs going off behind him. It was great. That was a fun shoot.
Yeah. Have you guys been shooting
This
this
is-
year much or at all? Or
Pardon?
have you guys been shooting this year at all?
Here and there, as you can.
Yeah, I've done a couple of shoots, but obviously with COVID can't do anything.
Yeah. So, here,
It's been
I
slow.
found Santa. I'll just pop up Santa quick for Andrew.
Santa?
Santa.
All right,
And on fire.
cool.
Santa with a fireball behind him. It was a great shoot.
Oh,
Yep.
yeah.
Oh yeah,
Is Mike on?
that's Mike. That's Dancy. Yeah.
Nancy, yeah.
So yeah, So that's what did we use? We used alcohol, right?
Yeah. The rubbing alcohol or whatever it was.
Compressed air and open flame, rubbing alcohol.
So where do you get this idea from? Like, how did you put that together to do that?
So it started actually because I watch Mythbusters and a lot of science-y type stuff, and Mythbusters showed how to do it with coffee creamer. So then they actually changed the recipe in coffee creamer, and it's not as flammable as it used to be, unfortunately. So we had to come up with another solution, and we decided to use rubbing alcohol, which actually flames up even better than coffee creamer. But yeah, I'm always looking for crazy different things we can do.
Yeah, I've never really, I've never
And
really.
Come up with a shoot to actually incorporate it into.
You got to come out one night.
Oh yeah, man.
The
I'm
kind of exciting shoots are like throwing leaves and stuff at the camera. I don't know.
Our
Are these on
leaves will be
fire,
on
though?
fire.
Pardon me?
Exactly.
Yeah.
The leaves
Yeah, our
on
leaves
fire?
are on fire.
No, I haven't done that. But you never know.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Do you want to quickly talk about your magazine, real quick?
So in
I can share it. I can share it if you want because I got it ready here.
sure, that would be great.
Yeah.
Yeah, in 2018, came together with an idea to try and make a magazine. I don't think I'd been published before, or maybe I hadn't, but try and make a magazine and not understanding how difficult it actually is. I didn't want to scrapbook. I don't know about you guys, but I have probably 100,000 images, and
Yeah.
only
Yeah, that's about right.
only post 300, I think.
Yeah.
But
Mhm.
yeah, so we had this idea to try and make a magazine and have like an open theme. But I didn't want to have a scrapbook of my own images, so I started reaching out to some photographers that had different types of photography, and obviously different, different skill levels and approaches. And so
Yep.
what I did was I collaborated with those guys, and I said, can you send me some stuff? Can you authorize me to send some stuff? And and also within those images, I asked to interview each and every person that's in the magazine. So because I think in that magazine there's 14 photographers and 12 models, and each of them have their own spin on photography and modeling and all those things, and also spoke about some of their insecurities as per their safety for one, or the effect on social media has on self-esteem. And also in that magazine, we had some venue owners, do some basically shout out to them for what they do. And
Right.
again, the magazine kind of touches many different genres, and so that's what I wanted in a magazine. So
It's really cool, man.
today and this is made by InDesign. I had to learn that, and
Yeah.
wow,
Is that hard? Is that hard or what?
Well, people make scrapbooks. Well, this is not a scrapbook. Like InDesign is kind of, it's Adobe, right? It's kind of crazy, and they have templates to use, of course. But making the template your own is tedious. I've only made one issue of this, and personal issues, and how hard it is to make. The first one's hard. I heard the second one's the hardest one to make. But
How come?
I hope to get back to doing it, and I've talked to you earlier about trying to get this back together, and and requesting images from people that you're involved with, or people submitting to me, and getting authorization to use them. Because you know what?
Yeah.
There's a lot of good photographers out there, and there's a lot of
yeah.
good work out there. And so,
And there's a lot of good stories out there too, right?
yeah, and like,
Like I think to me the stories are equally important too, because people come from different walks of life, right?
yes, and
So,
though each one have their spins, and what I've realized too is about photography and maybe social media is the effect self-esteem really has on people, and
right.
these images and what we're putting out there can be disturbing to people. And so, like I said, everyone's had their challenges and stuff like that. And excuse me, for some of these people to actually model is really a self-confidence boost in many, many ways, but at the same time could hide some really bad things too.
Right. Yeah. And why is it called 52 magazine?
Well, 52 magazine because it just means whatever happens within the 52 weeks of the year. So that's why it has no theme. So I can have a Santa shoot. I can have a Santa shoot in May if I wanted. It'd be awesome.
Okay.
Right? Because again, and even in the magazine too, it also showcases a photographer the idea was to showcase a photographer issue. And so again, the photographer in this one is from the Art of One. He's a Toronto-based photographer, but he actually went to Ontario Arts College, and he was a painter. And then he realized at the end of his term or courses there that he couldn't really make money with his painting, so he chose to do photography. And so he took all his skills and started making images that way. And he's got a pretty big following, I think. But again, just very different. And so when I saw his work, I'm like, wow, that's just kind of odd and different. But so we should celebrate that stuff.
Yeah, 100%, man.
So,
I think it's super cool what you made, to be honest.
Well, again, it took
cool,
a long time. And
how many months?
On and off, I would probably say 5 months. I know that's not the way it's going to be if you can do it commercially, but I think myself, once I did it once, if I was on task, I could do it. I could reproduce it very quickly. And it was just that I'm pretty anal about my pictures too. And so to get other people's pictures in there, you're like, oh my God, because I want it to be good, right? I want people to see. I don't want people to see the magazine, any picture, and say, okay, it's run of the mill, or the same as the last guy's shoot.
Quality work.
Right. Yeah. So, and again, there's a lot of photographers out there who do great work, who have lots of skills that I don't have.
I love the passion, man.
So I wanted to see them. And again, I was lucky enough to have these people share their stuff with me and create that.
Yeah, I think like my experience, like when you ask people to like share their story, like 8 times out of 10, they'll actually like share it with you, because I think people want to share like their story, because like there's so much stuff out there that I think sometimes people feel lost in all of social media. So I think people are pretty willing to share usually.
Well, I guess the thing is, when you sharing your story though, you have to ask different questions.
Ask them, right? And
sometimes I think even in this magazine, I had a little what's the thing called? A little blurb basically stating that these people's opinions were their own and not mine, but basically saying that they could, it's like a forum for them to come up with anything they wanted to talk about. I think when it's that open, I think it's better. We get more information, or we see different perspectives of what people are going through.
Yes, exactly.
But yeah, so
100%. People just sometimes just want a platform.
Yeah, so like I can't even imagine what would happen if I let someone speak about COVID today, right? But yeah, I hope to this year start putting the second one together and have it. So I'll give you an example. For that, the template for my magazine is called Blackazine from Adobe. But but I also have the reverse, which is called Whiteazine, right? So it's kind of crazy that the templates are called that. But so basically, I will reverse the magazine. So the templates will be reversed, so the color shading will be different, and so now it's like a dark gray, but we'll move to a white, and just see how it goes, and see what kind of images I get. And like I talked to you about, having cityscapes and stuff like that. Like I said, when I mentioned Scott P. Photography, and I started looking at his pictures, I'm like, oh wow, I met the guy once, and I follow him obviously, but just the stuff he's coming up with. There's no models in there per se, but there's great subjects in there. So those pictures would look great in the magazine. I'm not sure that everyone, if street photographers or landscape photographers, are getting that much love. So I think that would be good.
Oh yeah, man. Yeah, we all want love at the end of the day.
I mean,
we all do.
That's another thing about this thing about Instagram having a lot of followers. I think it's great to have followers. I want lots myself.
Sure. We all do.
But the pressure that comes with wanting more followers is tough too.
Yeah, yeah. I kind of give the example of like YouTube. Everyone wants like 1 million subscribers, but what would you actually do with 1 million subscribers? Like, what would you actually produce to satisfy like 1 million people? So it's that kind of like approach, right? Like, make sure that you're ready to like make that kind of size of an audience happy, right? Because that's a lot of pressure to do.
I had a question.
Because the higher you go.
I had a question. Pricing weddings, how do you do that?
You pray, man. You pray. I could throw it to Bryan and Evans.
Figure out how much you think an hour of your time is worth at a basic level, right? So at a basic level, figure out how much of your time is worth per hour, right?
Is that after taxes or before taxes?
I would put in before taxes, right? So if I'm pricing myself at, let's say, $200 an hour. Now, there's a couple of things that photographers, especially when you're beginning, some people don't factor into their cost. Now, I'm factoring in how many hours I'm spending to do the wedding shoot. So if I'm shooting the wedding for 8 hours, that's 8 hours right there. But I also got to factor in how many hours it's going to take me to edit and submit those images. So if I'm spending 8 hours on the shoot, maybe estimate another 40 hours for editing, we're looking at about 48 hours, right? So whatever you charge, multiply that by 48 hours. So if it's $200 an hour, you're looking at a starting price of $4,800 for an 8-hour wedding or a 12-hour wedding, however you want to price it, right? But there's a couple of other stuff that sometimes we need to also take into account, like your advertising fee. If you're advertising out to people, a while back when weddings were happening, I used to pay maybe from time to time for Facebook ads or Instagram ads. You gotta find a way to kind of charge some of these things as part of your overall pricing strategy, right? So you can just, at the minimum, you can just start off with your hours that you're going to spend for the shoot plus the hours that you're going to spend on the edit. But there is a more complicated way of trying to figure out exactly how much, because you got to take into consideration your time for driving, your a lot about other stuff if you want to. So you can take the basic approach, or you can actually sit down and plan it really well.
All your client meetings, if you have phone calls, emails, if you want to get technical, you have to bunch all that stuff together. And
what you can do is just write, itemize everything that you think might cost you that wedding, and just break it down that way, maybe.
Yeah, because again, I was approached today, and the groom basically is stating that that he would like me to shoot him and have another photographer shoot her, and then collaborate on the rest of the wedding together. And I'm thinking that's a great thing. And then, but how do you price that? Is it just like a second shooter? I guess it's not, because you're a primary.
So normally it's better if the couple is hiring one photographer, and that photographer is bringing in their second shooter. Then you just charge based on that, right? In that case, I charge you for my base rate, and then I charge you maybe another extra for the second shooter. But in this case, if they are hiring two separate photographers on their own, then your pricing, you don't really care about what you're doing with the second shooter. You price like you price yourself for a first shooter.
Okay.
Right.
Because I guess the worry is that, I guess I'm doing preparation shoots before the wedding and stuff. But
correct.
You almost want to know who the other shooter is, because then you're you might end up having to take over another person. I don't
Like
even
the
know.
100
Yeah.
games of wedding photography, man.
Yeah, personally, I won't take on this kind of a job because it gets complicated, right? Personally, I won't take it. If you want to hire me, hire me. I bring my second shooter.
Yeah.
That way, I know who I'm bringing, how to work with that person. We are not in each other's way.
Yeah, because
Right?
I don't, because I don't know. I'm just saying, like, I don't know what the logistics would be like to do it. And again, I don't know the experience level of the other person. I'm not saying I've shot lots of weddings either because I haven't, but at least I understand what I'm going to bring to the table. I'm not going to share what they're going to bring.
Right. So what I would say is, in that kind of situation, you charge like you're a first shooter, because at the end of the day, you also have to deliver images the same way the other guy has to. If I bring my own second shooter, then yes, the second shooter is just shooting for me. At the end of the day, I'm responsible for delivering both set of photographers' work together, right? But in this case, you're responsible for delivering everything on your own. The other guy's responsible for delivering everything on their own. So you charge the same way like you would charge if you're shooting that wedding by yourself. The only tricky part is when it comes to actually working together with this guy, right? I would suggest get in
I don't
touch.
really play well with others. So.
Yeah, if you guys play well together and all that kind of
Yeah.
stuff.
No, like it's just like, when you, it's like at a workshop. Like I like workshops myself, but what really bothers me is when I post somebody and then someone takes my pose.
Yeah.
I do not like that because I'm basically lending my experience to other people, right?
Yeah.
I'm just saying that's just being honest.
I hear you, buddy. I hear you, man.
So, if
Well,
I'm learning something, I can take it.
well, if you do the is the wedding next year or this year?
No, maybe August this year.
If you do the wedding, you should come back on the show and tell us about your experience.
Yeah.
You should also ask
Yep.
the other guy that's doing the wedding also come on the show. We can have a Hunger Games type of like episode.
Yeah, again, I don't like this is very preliminary, anyways, but I'm just trying to get a sense of it because again, I think in this business, pricing yourself is very difficult, and there's a lot of people who will shoot for free, and I've shot for free in the past, and I'm trying to get away from it as much as I can. So like I said, our equipment's expensive. We travel. I travel. I love traveling to shoot, being in different places, but it's an expensive hobby.
Well, you're just putting value on your work, right? As you should, because your work is right. So you're just putting value on it. It's like if you walk into like an art gallery, you just can't take the painting off the wall. Like you need to pay for this.
Yep.
Same concept.
Fortunately for me, I did a little bit of business studies and business stuff before I switched into IT. And so I always have that business mindset of what is my opportunity cost, right? The cost to me is not just my time. There's an opportunity cost. That 8 hours I'm spending at that wedding, or even if it's that FTP shoots, right? That 2 hours that I'm spending at that place to do that shoot, what else or what other stuff could I have done in that 2 hours? What could I have gained if I don't go, right? And then compare the value. Is that value greater than me going to spend my 2 hours there, right? If it is, then maybe I won't take that job, right? That job is gonna have to maybe match up to what else I could have gotten for that 2 hours. What's your opportunity cost?
100%. I learned that in grade 9 economics.
Well, how long have you guys been shooting yourselves?
Oh, I've been shooting for about 7 years now.
That's it.
The first 2 years, the first 2 years I was shooting weddings under someone, learning with the guy. I was second shooting most of the time, and then I went off on my own since then. But even still, I still second shoot for the guy that I started off with, right? So,
what about the other guys?
I've been shooting probably 10 years. I didn't take it very seriously at the beginning because I was learning and just doing a lot of TFP shoots just to gain that experience. But I've done weddings, families, all different types of things now. But don't undervalue yourself because
it's kind of nice when someone approaches you to shoot and you tell them your price, and then they say, I can afford this, and you say no. Kind of nice to be able to say no.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you have to.
Yep. Like I said, the opportunity cost, right? If you want to pay me, let's say $500 to come shoot your wedding, right? And the wedding is for 8 hours. 5 hours for an 8-hour wedding. Don't forget that after that 8 hours you spent there, you have another 40, or even if you're doing basic editing, another 20 hours to sit
It's
down
still
at home
time,
and
yeah.
edit. That's still time, right? If I went to go work in McDonald's, minimum wage, I probably would make more than 500, right? So I'm going to reject that job right away, no matter what. It has to be worth my time. That's the
Yeah.
the
And also
the McDonald's example.
also the images the person will get too. Like, again, trying to do, if you're doing a wedding, like maybe one reason why I haven't wanted to do one is because I don't want to miss that special shot. You know what I mean? I don't want to miss all those things because those seconds are fleeting, right? So if you're not prepared to do it properly, you probably shouldn't do it at all, right? A wedding.
It is a lot of pressure.
I shoot live theater, so I'm used to you got one shot to get it and that's it. I'm used to that environment.
Go shoot as a second shooter then if you want, and try and nail those shots, those key shots. That way the pressure isn't always on you. I did that quite a bit. Went as a second or even a third shooter, just get what I could, handed over my card after, and away I went. So
Yep. And I'll tell you this. If there is anything that I learned from, it was second shooting, right? And like I said, when I started, I second shot with this guy for free so many times, right? In that instance, there's a big chunk. At the end of the day, even though I was losing my time, I thought the value of working under somebody, seeing how somebody else is doing it, was worth it for me, right? So I rather work those weddings for free as a second shooter to gain the experience that I need to be able to go off on my own and do it the right way. Because a wedding is somebody's once in a lifetime event. Well, these days it happens so many often, but it's supposed to be a one in a lifetime event, right? And so you cannot screw it up if you go and you end up and says, "Oh, I lost all your images," right? Or
That would be good.
you know what I mean? All your images are blurry and too dark. I can recover. I can do that, right? There's so much you can get into, especially if you are getting paid to do it. You can get sued. Your business name and your reputation is on the line. So don't take corners. I would say I would never accept the job if I feel like the money is not worth it enough for me to be able to give it, all that I want to. Because if you're paying me pennies and I come in grudgingly to come and do it, and in the back of my mind, I'm not really happy doing that job because of how much I'm being paid, it may affect the output that you will get. And I wouldn't do that.
no. And just being a second shooter, it also gives you the opportunity to see if you really want to do weddings.
Yep.
Because there's not as much pressure on you.
I've always thought they're not creative enough.
See, the one that I've booked for next year, they wanted me specifically because I'm not a wedding photographer. That they wanted me to have complete creative control over everything, and they didn't want to hire a regular wedding photographer.
Yeah.
So there, boom.
But yeah, that could be the way to do it then. Because I'm afraid to miss that shot, and I think that, like you said, if you're paying that kind of big money, you should be getting those shots.
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
And now they have very specific lighting they're going to have, and they wanted someone who knows how to shoot in that kind of lighting. So they saw my work and they were like, "You're the guy for us."
But see, the only issue I have is that the photographer is not normally involved in the venue, getting the venue.
Nope,
you don't. So
it's like this is what I have here. Like going, oh my god, now what? right?
Well, so
Especially
that's where the experience comes in, right?
right. Right.
So I've shot weddings so many times that if I get to the venue, whenever I'm going for a wedding reception venue, I'm already prepared. I have everything I think I may need in my trunk, even if I don't use it that day, right? Because I don't know what I'm going to run into at the reception. Most of the time, the biggest challenge comes at the reception. The prep and shoot and the ceremony and stuff. Well, ceremony can be challenging too, right? But the biggest problems you're gonna have is at the reception, where you have a lot of mixed lighting and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
And so you need to be prepared. You have to have CTO gels. You need to have, if you're going to use flash, right? You need to know how to kind of balance your flash with the ambient lighting.
Mhm.
If you have all of tungsten lighting in the whole place and you are adding in the flash, which is coming up at 5600 kelvins, then you're going to have issues, right? So knowing how to handle all of this, proper white balancing, all of that stuff helps you at the end of the day to be able to come out and just be a
See,
better.
what you're saying to me right now is I wouldn't even think about all that tungsten light. Never think. Not even
Yeah.
another thought about it. Again,
If you come out shooting with me, you'll get to use it creatively.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, I guess that's a date then, because that's because again,
I do white balance play all the time.
Yeah,
All the time.
these things you're talking about, I don't actually think about them. Basically, I'm an auto white balance person, but again, shooting groups of people is not my forte either. But like I said, being creative in that with those wedding shots, I think I could do fine. But that's why I would want to do with it. I don't want the rings before the wedding would be great. The shots of shoes, the girl in the window, that's all great stuff.
Mhm.
But the actual ceremony itself, the impromptu shots, I think I could do that. But getting that money shot for the at the altar, the timing of that, and making sure my lighting was proper to what I want it to be, that would be something to learn.
Yeah. One thing I always say is that, I mean, cameras have come a long way now that auto white balance seems to work a lot. But I always, especially in a wedding scenario, always like to white balance for the reception hall, right?
Mhm.
Just because, I mean, especially if you're going to use flash in any situation at all, even in natural light, I still prefer to white balance, and I always have multiple white balance cards in my bag. Just throw it on the floor, white balance off it, right? And it's set, it's locked in. Your white balance is not changing continuously, and it makes it even easier for you when you comes to edit, because you shot all of those images or a series of images under one lighting condition, one set of white balance, and it's easier to edit that way.
See, the thing that's interesting is that using a gray card, never use one. I do not batch edit.
Correct, because you're doing artistic shoots, right? So when I do model shoots and I do artistic shoots, I don't really care about my white balance, because I'm going to edit them one by one and pick the best few out of the bunch, right?
Yeah, wedding you have to
But
approach differently.
weddings, you have to you're gonna probably end up delivering maybe 800, 500 images, right? You cannot edit each one of them one by one. You got to find a way to edit groups together.
You don't know Mussington photography. I'm kidding. I know, like I take my with shoots. I edit a lot of pictures. The reason why is because I kind of take them. Every edit is a different kind of practice, and that's why I don't use presets at all. I just try to be again, for a wedding you can't do this obviously, but
No, for a wedding you have to approach it differently. You basically you get them to pick a few key ones, and those are the ones that you really play with on your edit. But for the most part, you just want to say, okay, here's a basic edit. Here you go.
Yeah.
hopefully,
That's just how you have
What
to
I
approach
do
it.
is, because see, after a while of shooting weddings and you develop your style of shooting, right? Then what I have done now is I edit a bunch of wedding shots and I create my own presets for my edits. So I know my gear, I know the way I shoot, and so
Mhm.
the presets that I have created kind of work for my type of shoot, my kind of gear.
Yeah.
Right. So I know my A7 III has a little bit of a green tint. And so to correct that green tint, I have some basic edits that I do to correct that. All of that I have saved as presets. So when I come back, I slap it on, and I know that that preset is going to look good on those images to give me the base.
Yeah.
To give me the base to start my edits.
Yeah.
What do you guys shoot with?
I
M6
should
Mark II.
I shoot an A7 III.
D750 Nikon.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, mirrorless. Do I want to do that? Yeah, I just don't want to spend the money. But my D750, I love that camera.
It's a solid camera.
Yeah.
Why switch it?
Yeah, as I'm saying, like, I don't know what
Yep.
people. My go-to lens 85 is an 85, 7200. I hate 24 to 70. Hate it. 35 for some crazy angles. I like it.
Hey man, it works for you. It's all that matters.
Yep.
Yeah.
Plus you're like crushing it. So
Pardon me?
plus you're crushing it, so it doesn't really matter, you know. Just keep doing what you're doing, and that's it.
And yeah, like I said, I love headshots. So, and again, speaking with some models today, I said, if you look at the models I shoot, they all have the same face. They have a square jaw, and you know, a lot of photographers want the model to have their chin, to raise their chin. I do the opposite. It's always chin down.
Mussington photography. It's your thing.
Yep.
It's your thing, man. Which is great. I mean, it's very unique stuff that you have. So
Trying.
very unique. No, it's good, man. It's good. Well, it's about 8:40. Huge thanks to Andrew for doing this with us. You should come on again. Maybe if you do that wedding, if you do that wedding, come on after. Maybe talk about your experience. I think that'd be super interesting.
Sounds good. Mm-hmm. Awesome. Thank you much, guys.
Yeah. Final thoughts, Evans?
Thank you. Oh, thank you, Andrew. Glad to have you here today. It's been interesting and informative discussion. You know, it's been a fun night, and thank you guys for hanging out with us in the chats. As you guys know, this is a community, thing, and we are here because you're here. So thank you for always showing up and supporting us.
Well, one thing I'd like to add is I think you asked me a question about Paul, about what would you say to aspiring photographers, and the answer is just shoot as much as possible.
It's literally yes.
Yep.
Yes. Yeah. That's the only way to. I mean, there's only so much YouTube you can watch. You have to actually to actually understand like how to actually properly shoot, right? So it doesn't happen overnight. You just got to keep working at it. I mean, it just got, and plus you have to just like enjoy it. I think people put a lot of pressure on themselves. Yeah, I think people put a lot of pressure on themselves to have like banger photos like right away, and that doesn't work that way.
I think the models or the customers see the passion in you, and they like the photos even better.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, of course.
I agree with that.
It's a person thing, right?
Yeah.
Photography is like a person thing too, right? Like it's a people thing. Like people can feed off people's like energies, and people kind of sense that. So especially if you're doing like portrait, fitness, model, whatever, people feed off other people's energy. So if you have good energy, you're gonna have a good shoot. Thanks, Jack. Andre, final thoughts?
Adam, Andrew, sorry. Thanks for coming on. It's always great to hear somebody else's point of view on their struggles, tribulations, joys, pleasures, and photography. And thank you.
Can't wait to meet you guys.
That's I'll end off by saying thanks, Andrew. And as soon as we can get together and do something, let's get together and do something.
Awesome. Sounds really good. Thank you.
Yeah. That's my final thought.
Your final thought?
Yep. Get out and do stuff.
I know. Okay, so I think that's about it. We're going to be on someone else's channel next week. I think Andre's maybe. Thanks, Tony. And we're going to figure out what we're going to do. Big thanks to Andrew. Make sure you guys follow him. Mussington Photography.
Yeah. Thank you, guys.
And thanks so much for tuning in. And we'll see you next week.
Cheers. Good night.
Wednesday, 7:30. Have a good night. Cue the outro music. We actually have no outro music because there's no budget. So, peace.